You are tuning in to the Roundtable, live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me. Stop watching on archive. I'm joined by Maestro A-Rod Boxeo and Joe Habib from Ringside Report. This is of the Round Table. Hit the like button if you're listening to archive right now, and also share this video on all your social media platforms. Shout out to Ronald Finkley with that super sticker. Much appreciated, brother. All right. That's right. You know, showing that support. Always appreciate it. And we already got those 2 thumbs down. Like, you know what I mean? Like you know you're doing something right. When someone needs to like show up on time and hit the thumbs down. You know what I mean? You know you're doing something right when that happens. So I love it. I'm not even gonna lie. I love the thumbs down. Bring the thumbs down. You know, I feel like that boxer that's making it boring, but he's winning every round. You know what I mean? Boo, I love it. But anyway, I love the cheers too. I love the thumbs up too, and all that. Shout out to Chicano Prophet, Ronald Finkley, Stephen, Maestro, doing double duty in the chat as well. Run PMC, Andre Rodriguez. You know, on here is why I said Ramirez will try to fight and trade because it's wild, and he knows he can clip Tater in exchanges. Or we're definitely. It is undisputed. It is 140 pounds. We're definitely going to touch on that. Let us know how you feel, guys. All that. Let's go ahead and do this. As Chicano says, saludos. Say, Wilder wins the arbitration. The arbitrator has concluded that Wilder is owed after they looked at all the evidence and everything was presented by both sides. He is owed a rematch. It has to be before September 15th. So as we know, in doubt is an understatement. AJ versus Fury. I think at this point we know the fight is no longer happening. At least not in August. At least not the middle of this year. That's for sure. So let's go ahead and start with you, Maestro. Wilder wins the arbitration. Fallout, man. What are your thoughts?
I've got 2 words for you. Shout out to my boy Joe Habib. Force majeure. That was the term of this whole thing. I wasn't convinced about it. You know, I was listening to Bob Arum and all of the pundits talking about how this was an open and shut issue, that the arbitration was going to just lead to one conclusion, which was that the contract expired. But clearly there were conditions on the ground that dictated that the contract was actually enforceable. One, he did sustain a legitimate injury, and I'm talking about Wilder right now. 2, there was a COVID pandemic. I'm actually going to go 3, actually, because guess what? Top
Rank
the
Trilogy, right? Like the Trilogy?
Top Rank was putting on fights, right? So if you take this case or issue to the arbitration, you're like, listen, man, the contract expired. There's nothing we could do about it. The arbitrator's going to be like, hold up. Look, I'm an experienced retired judge. You guys put on multiple shows. You could have put on this fight. It's not Wilder's fault that you couldn't come up with his 40% of the total pot. And looks like your excuse just isn't going to cut it. And that's what actually happened. So obviously plans have been laid waste. And it's unfortunate for all those who were looking forward to a Joshua Fury match. But we just got to wait and see. And I know we'll get into the conspiracy theories as the show progresses.
Absolutely. And of course, we've been joined by H Money, Mr. DAZN. All right. And since you came in, H Money, I want to ask you, brother, what do you make of Wilder winning the arbitration? Are you in shock? Is it not surprising to you? Did you listen to Joe Habib? Because he was breaking it down for weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, I am kind of surprised. We knew that Deontay Wilder was in arbitration, but I don't think anybody took it seriously. I think Eddie Hearn did a lot of talking. He misled the fans. Eddie Hearn promised us this fight 100% next week. We will have an official announcement. And, too much talking by Eddie Hearn. And I feel like he did mislead the fans, to be honest with you. But, I think the third fight is good for boxing, to be honest with you. Deontay Wilder, he was, he did have a rematch clause for that fight. And Tyson Fury, he said he's ready to crack his skull again. So I'm excited about the third fight. I think it is the biggest fight in boxing of 2021 by far. It's the biggest fight of 2021. I'm excited.
Well said. Well said. Joe Habib, I cited you twice because, and I'm not saying you were happy about it, but you weren't very shocked about this. But nonetheless, explain to us what you made of it when you heard the news that the arbitrator ruled in favor of Wilder.
Well, this was the old okey doke that was put forth by Bob Arum, as we like to say back here in the East Coast. You fell for the old okey doke, or at least a lot of the fans did, who were ignoring all the red flags. I gonna come right out and say, and I said this a couple weeks ago, I don't even think that there was an expiration date on this rematch clause. I think that was hogwash. I don't believe it, because again, he came out and said that it expired in October, but yet he threw a December date out there and he threw a February date out there for Wilder Fury 3. So why would he have done that? Why would this stadium have already been booked before the results of the arbitration was even released to the public? The stadium was booked. Bruce Trampler, matchmaker for Top Rank, came out on Twitter, let the cat out the bag. It was May 15th, Saturday. He confirmed that Fury would be fighting on pay-per-view in July. So they just basically they told on themselves. This was no surprise if you look at the behavior. Fury had said all along that I'm going to be fighting in July with or without AJ, right? His dad said it. Frank Warren said it, right? They even had a fight in December lined up with Ajit Kabayal, but as soon as they proposed that and announced that, that's when Wilder came out of hiding and he was like, no, hold up here. So, there was a point where I do think that they were not sure if Wilder was going to come back or if he was going to take a long layoff or if he wanted a tune-up fight before enforcing this rematch with Fury, or if he wanted to just scrap it all together, get back in line and just rebuild. But once they made that announcement that they wanted to fight Ajit Kabayal in December, then Wilder came out, and then they knew that they had no choice but to fight Wilder. So this whole arbitration thing and how it dragged out, it was just all stall tactics, because at the end of the day, what the goal was here, as I said for weeks, was to put Wilder Fury 3 in front of a live audience and waiting until the country opened up. And it all fell into place perfectly for them. So this all could not have been coincidental. All the stars didn't just align properly for this one event, for all these things to just work out perfectly the way they did, perfect timing and all of that. But my only question there is, was Eddie Hearn in on it? I have a hard time believing that he wasn't. He had to have known, because he was part of the stall game as well. He kept saying next week. And then when the result of this arbitration was announced on Monday, he didn't act too disappointed. So it's just so weird how they already, like Bob Arum did an interview today, and he already had he already confirmed the date, confirmed the arena, and he said the fight is a go with Wilder Fury 3, July 24th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. So I'm not surprised. And it's just a shame that a lot of people out there were, they were very naive about this. They didn't have any skepticism at all. They just believed these people who have proven in the past to be disingenuous, and they just were strung along. And it's just crazy how people fans of the boxing public, they're just sheep, and the media just propagated it all, and they had no questions. They just went right along with it. I can't really feel bad for people that weren't skeptical about this. I really can't. I can't, because the writing was on the wall. So here we are.
Well said, Beeb, and shout out to G Funky. He said it's not Bomb Squad, it's Block Squad. Like man, if they block Undisputed, man, I'm just telling you right now, they blocked that like the line of the 1994 Dallas Cowboys or something, or 92 or whatever it was. But here's what I'll say, A-Rod. Talk to us. What was your reaction? Were you in shock? Were you disappointed? What was your feeling when it was announced? And you watch a lot of channels. You watch pro Wilder channels. You watch all types of channels. So you have an all-around perspective. What was your reaction to this?
I was a little surprised that they weren't going to be able to make that fight, because I thought one way or another they were going to be able to just sneak their way into getting a fight. There was talks about them dropping the belts. There's talks about, just making the fight just regardless. But I don't know how they had the contract to where Fury had to give Wilder a third fight, no matter if he had the belt or not. That fight still had to happen before Fury fights again against anybody. We don't know what goes on in the contract if Fury was to get that. I even thought about if he was to get that new belt that everybody hates, to be able to just give Wilder that belt and let's get this fight going, because this is the money grab right here. And it was just a thing that everybody thought that either Wilder was going to give up on the arbitration or they thought that they were going to win, and they thought there was money for sure. Wilder's going to be able to take step aside money, but there was talks about Wilder getting $40 million for step aside money before the arbitration, but now they're talking about, you should take the $20 million. If he didn't take the $40 million, why do you think he's going to take 20 now? You know what I mean? Why the hell? So I don't know. It's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. We're going to get to see that fight and get it over with. Let's get this third fight going. Fury knocks his ass out again and go fight AJ. You know what I mean? So that's what you want. Wilder wants that payback. I don't think he's going to take any steps aside money from what I know. Why go through all that trouble? Why go through all that training and all that arbitration, and at the end just take step aside money?
Well said. Claudio Monreal, how are you doing? Andre Rodriguez, Robert Brown on here. He's saying that all the Fury fans are going to be crying after Wilder knocks him out. Well, the knockout has to happen first, and then we'll see people cry. You know what I mean? Big Dog Willie said, like I said, Fury did it to himself. Big dummy. Man. All right, thanks so much for the support, brother. Of course, all opinions are welcome. We are talking about Wilder winning the arbitration. Let me tell you guys something. I ain't shocked. I ain't surprised. The only way you're surprised if you believed Eddie Hearn. And let me tell you, and it's not an Eddie Hearn thing. It's a boxing promoter thing. Don't take these promoters' words for it. These guys are professional liars. Okay, it's what they do for a living. Okay, they're like that car salesman. Do you guys believe everything the car salesman tell you? So if the car salesman tells you, "Oh, this car is in picture perfect condition," I mean, it's never been in a crash. Believe me, it's never been in a crash. No, you're gonna ask for the history of that vehicle. You're gonna, you don't have to even take it for a test drive. Believe me, this thing works. Nah, give me the keys. I'm going to take it for a test drive, and that's how we should approach all promoters. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Beep, was Eddie Hearn colluding or in on it the whole time? Do you buy the fact that he had no clue? And by golly gee, how would I have known?
Well, if I'm going to make an argument that he wasn't, this is what you could possibly say. He's dealing with Bob Arum, who was a former lawyer, and you would assume would have an understanding of the law. I mean, I'm sure Eddie Hearn was thinking that, or I suspect he was anyways. I can't say I was sure. Also, Eddie Hearn doesn't understand how things work here from the legal system or the legal system aspect here in the United States. Also, was Bob Arum telling him that the arbitration wouldn't be a problem. And if he did say that, would Eddie Hearn say, well, once again, this guy understands law because he was a former lawyer. And, he's been dealing with contracts all his life. He's been doing this for over 50 years. So you would think that if he was going to tell me something that it would be credible, right? But it's almost hard to not think he was complicit in it because he was also doing the stall tactics himself as well. So he was part of the stall. He kept saying every week, right? And it had to be in the back of his mind that this arbitration could have been an issue. Like nothing's 100%. You don't know. He never saw the contract. So he has no way of really knowing what was actually written in that contract. But because Arum has the knowledge of the law, or you would think he does because of his background, right? And because he has that experience of 50 years in the sport and the amount of huge events that he put on, you would think that you could take his word for it. But like I said, he was stalling too, so maybe he was. I suspect he was in on it too. I think the master plan was to get each fighter one more fight in between and then do the unification after that. Well, why leave all the money? No, because it becomes bigger. It becomes bigger. They got 4 months or probably 6 months of free promotion. Both sides were clout chasing, not just one, both sides were clout chasing because there was a back and forth. Everybody was talking about both men, right? I was going online, seeing articles on CNN.com, ABC.com, CBS.com, and they were talking about Fury and Joshua. So this, again, was stalled to get both men a fight in between and get everyone's hopes up high, get everyone talking about this fight, get the interest for this fight, get it to an insanely high level, and just work off of that momentum. Because they're both going into fights that they're going to be heavily favored to win. We've seen stranger things happen. Banana pills get thrown in a fighter's path. Anything is possible, but it's a pretty solid calculated risk for both fighters, Fury and Joshua, that they're going to come through and then they could fight after that, after they get these two fights out of the way. And once again, I repeat, the fight becomes bigger because there was still a lot of uncertainty in the world. We're just coming out of COVID, right? The UK is not opened up. And, the United States, we're going to be fully opened up here on June 15th. Some states are already opened up, but a great deal, if not pretty much all the states, will be open in June at some point. So let's get the ball rolling now. Let's get this big event through. And I'm sure in Las Vegas, they've been closed for so long. A lot of those businesses have been starved for so long. They're looking for an event like this to revitalize their state, right? This is what they need. This is the perfect shot in the arm that this state is going to get, right? Allegiant Stadium, 60,000 people. It doesn't get any better than that, man. Got fucking goosebumps just talking about it.
Ooh. Well, hey, shout out to Frank Yeager. He said, didn't believe Eddie back in 2018 when he didn't make Wilder versus AJ Undisputed. Didn't believe him for AJ versus Fury. Frank Yeager, we appreciate the support. Much appreciated, brother. All right. And of course, there's people saying, hey, step aside. Fort Bend Media saying, what step aside? Wilder will never take step aside. He needs 70, 80 million. I know it's going to give him 80 million for step aside. I think 17 million for just stepping aside is way too much money. It looks like we're going to get the fight for sure. Milcar, talk to us. Was Eddie Hearn in on this the whole time?
Well, I was here listening to Joe Habib, thinking that I was about to have to argue with him on this topic because I was hearing a lot of ifs. If Eddie Hearn believed Bob Arum, and if this and if that, and he doesn't have a strong understanding of the U.S. legal system, but bro, that's a lot of ifs, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A whole lot of fucking ifs.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a guy who took $1 billion allegedly from DAZN to build out U.S. boxing on their behalf here, right? They got a big ass office downtown on at the World Trade Center, and at the end of the day, you know, they have a team of lawyers. There's no way that they could have been fooled by this. You know, you got some of the best lawyers in the world working here in New York City, especially downtown.
Yeah.
All right? There's no way they wouldn't have asked to see a copy of that contract that was up in front of an arbitrator. There's just no way. And when you think about it, right? Did anyone actually lose here other than the fans that were hoping for a fight between Joshua and Fury? Joshua's not really going to lose. He's got a fight that you got to think he thinks he can win, right, against Usyk. Obviously, we know that Fury thinks he's going to beat Deontay. I mean, I think everybody here agrees with that, except for maybe A-Rod up there at the top. So yeah, you get two fights. All right, they each get a fight. You got plenty of promotion. It's already occurred. And then the next fight just becomes all the much more bigger, you know? So I started thinking that I was going to disagree with what Joe was saying, but I just doubled down on everything he said. It makes absolute sense.
What's up to Fort Ben Media says, when I hear step aside, all I hear is fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Can't make deals with dishonest people, he says. LT Boxing de Desmadre in the building. Ronald Finkley, how are you doing? A. H Money. Mr. The Zone, talk to us. Was Eddie Hearn in on this, bro? Did he know the whole time? How do you feel about this?
Absolutely. He knew the whole time. Tyson Fury yesterday during the back and forth between him and Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury said, your team knew already about the situation. Eddie Hearn got some of the best lawyers in the world. Of course he knew. We knew already. We knew about the arbitration. So, of course, Eddie Hearn, he knew about it. But now we're hearing a blame game. Everybody's trying to blame Tyson Fury. All these Anthony Joshua fanboys trying to point the finger at Tyson Fury. You know, at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to watching Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3. I seen an interview today from Bob Arum. He said Tyson Fury will knock out Wilder faster than that second fight. Now, Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, he's going to be in a very dangerous fight against Alexander Usyk. Matter of fact, I heard Michael Hunter do an interview today, and Michael Hunter is picking Usyk to beat Anthony Joshua. We know in the past, when Anthony Joshua wanted to make an undisputed fight with Deontay Wilder, he ended up losing to Andy Ruiz. And the fight was messed up. So, I mean, if you look at the track record, D-Style, look at Bob Arum. He's been in the game, like Beep said, for 50 years. Made legendary fights. Marvin Hagler versus Thomas Hearns. Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko. So many fights, undisputed fights that we got this Saturday. This Saturday, Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, another undisputed fight. Has Eddie Hearn ever made an undisputed fight in boxing? Okay, just look at the track record. Eddie Hearn does a lot of talking. Has he delivered 3 years with DAZN, over $1 billion? And what you got to show us? What do you have to show us? And I support Eddie Hearn. I'm Mr. DAZN, but I have to keep it real. I have to be honest about the situation. Eddie Hearn did the most talking, my brother. You know what I mean? Bob Arum was talking about Deontay Wilder as a possible opponent. That Deontay Wilder's in arbitration, he's still a possibility. Frank Warren said it, but it was Eddie Hearn, the one saying next week we're going to have an announcement. 100% guaranteed. So, yeah, Eddie Hearn definitely was in on it, and I believe he deserves the most blame, bro. So many times Eddie Hearn, you know, didn't deliver the big fights between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, bro, in 2018, like somebody in the super chat said. So I like what Eddie Hearn is doing, but enough talking. We need more actions, bro. We need the big fights. Could you please deliver one undisputed fight for us? Canelo versus Caleb Plant. Let's see if you deliver that. Let's see. I'm waiting. Appreciate that.
Hey, time to deliver, man. No more talking, Eddie Hearn. Deliver. Did you listen or not? And by the way, Ronald Finkley says Hearns is innocent. He says, I appreciate the support, brother, in that super chat. He's saying that he is innocent and all that. Let me say this before I go to A-Rod. No doubt in my mind that Eddie Hearn, I don't know if he colluded with Arum, but Arum has said multiple times he talks to Hearn multiple times a week. Like, there is no way this conversation wasn't had for the biggest fight that they're both involved in. Like, you know what I mean? Together, possibly. Like, this had to be said. Now, Lisa Bales did say that she has a female undisputed Katie Taylor, though, H Money. So,
yeah, women's boxing, it's a little different. Well, it's easy. We got an undisputed fight happening in women's boxing, I believe, on June 19th between what's the girl Deshaun Cruz, the girl who fought against Jimenez, and her wig fell off, and nobody's even talking about that. Let's talk about men's boxing, where everybody watches men's boxing.
Hannah Gabriels is coming.
Oh yeah, shout out to Hannah Gabriels.
Rio.
Yeah, shout out to her.
We respect women's
but go ahead.
boxing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, we respect women's boxing, but look, undisputed. When someone says undisputed, we're talking about grown men.
Oh boy. So with that said, yeah, we're gonna have problems with the PR people. We're gonna have problems with the PR people. Not
just lost some sponsorships there. Kid.
No, but we're good. Hey, Rod, was Eddie Hearn in on this, brother? Do you think he knew the whole time? You think he knew, like, this fight ain't gonna happen, but I'm gonna play along with it anyway?
Yeah, he was able to play it nice. He was probably talking to Fury. If he was actually pumping these guys up to getting a fight going, he was probably telling them, oh yeah, look at Bob Arum saying that the contract was expired. We're going to be able to make this happen. Let's make some noise, guys. And he was just all behind it. He didn't want to see that the arbitration was true. You know what I mean? He was just thinking that they were going to win the case and they're going to be able to get it on. He was out here fucking just telling them, oh, let's just fucking drop. You guys could drop some belts. We could get this going. The contract's fucking expired. What's the name? Taking too long for the arbitration. Let's fucking throw some step aside money at him or whatever. But he's just making clout, like you guys say. I mean,
that's right. Hey, well said, Rod. Hey, guys, you know what I think? I think in Eddie Hearn's perspective, he wanted to come out of this like telling people, hey, we did our part. AJ's a war. AJ will fight anybody. AJ was ready, but they don't want to fight it. You see what they do? They have to lie because they don't really want to fight AJ. I think that was Hearn's plan all along. What does he have to lose to do that? I know I talked to Beeb about this. People are like, oh, Eddie Hearn, he put so much work. Like if Eddie Hearn was in the boardroom during arbitrations or something. Like if Eddie Hearn was flipping through every page of all the contracts. And there are people that do that, bro. You know what I mean? There's people that already do that for these guys. All Eddie Hearn did was call somebody and be like, hey, I need you to do this and that. Okay, bye. Boom, done. Okay, and they're doing it for him. He didn't put in work. Okay, all y'all listen to this put more work today on your 9 to 5 than Eddie Hearn did for this fight. Okay, I guarantee you in all these months. You put in more work doing the dishes today, all right, than Eddie Hearn did trying to make this fight happen. All right, Eddie Hearn didn't want to make this fight happen. Why was he stalling so much? What's he stalling for, Eddie? I don't believe you, Eddie. But the next question is, how does Fury look after this? Tyson Fury, not so much Arum. Remember, Arum's the dude that said the famous line, hey, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth. Like, Arum don't give a fuck what people think about him. And he's old, and he's like, you know what, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what they say about me. Like, he doesn't care. But Fury's still young. He's like, 30 years old? This dude, he still has a couple years left. What does this do for his brand, for his word? He came out and told everybody, got everybody all excited. Like, hey, guys, the fight is done. I will be going to Saudi Arabia, and I will knock out this bum, AJ. And then like, less than 24 hours later, it's announced that he lost the arbitration. Less than 24 hours later. Think about that. H Money, talk to us. How did this make AJ look?
Fury, right?
Oh, Fury. I'm sorry. Fury. My bad.
Well, how's my audio? Is it good? I'm good.
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
I love this kid.
Okay. Well, man, to be honest with you, Tyson Fury, to me, man, it looks like he's the hottest name in boxing at the time. He's connected with Anthony Joshua. He's connected to Deontay Wilder. And either way, Tyson Fury will be in the biggest fight in 2021. You know, with Deontay Wilder. That's going to be the biggest fight in boxing. So I think Tyson Fury right now, to me, it looks like he wants all the smoke with the top guys, whether it's Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to this third fight, D-Style. I want Tyson Fury to beat the lies out of Deontay Wilder. Beat him down for lying to the fans. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking forward to. Tyson Fury, his stock is going up. His stock is rising. You know, he's the hottest name in the sport of boxing for a reason, because he dominated Deontay Wilder and knocked him out. Now, Wilder made all these excuses, all these lies, calling Tyson Fury a cheater. Tyson Fury going to knock him out for that, bro. So I'm looking forward to that. So right now, Tyson Fury, his profile is rising fast. You know, the Anthony Joshua fanboy Fury, but they've been blaming people for years. The Anthony Joshua fanboys, they're just like the Deontay Wilder fanboys. It's no different. There's no difference, bro.
Let's see a milk car. You ride and die with Fury. You know what I mean? You're Team Fury all day. How do you think this makes him look?
Well, you know what? I go out to eat every now and again with my wife, right? And when we're looking at reviews, you're trying to hit that 5-star, right? 5 out of 5 stars for those reviews on Google, on Yelp, you name it.
Right.
Look, man, he's looking 5-star right now. He's looking like the heavyweight champion of the world. He's looking like the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, the WBC Ring Magazine heavyweight champion of the world. Now, look, you know, maybe, and I'm repping for all the beard ninjas out there, right? You know, sometimes, you know, you're feeling really happy about something. You're sitting down for that meal. You get a little food in your face, right? You get a little food in your beard. That's all that happened. But you got a little egg in his face after he made that announcement about Saudi, and then the next day it didn't look too good. But he just brushed it off, man. He's fresh. He's clean, just like the Outcast said. Now, my man over there, Beeb, right? Since Salino and Barnes is no more, I don't know if you guys have that out there on the West Coast. There's a big law firm out here. They do personal injury and stuff here on the East Coast. It's now just Salino, right? And Joe has got me looking up legal terms now, and I'll give you a good one for Tyson Fury. Plausible deniability. He can just say he didn't know. I mean, he's not a lawyer. He didn't go to law school. It's not up to him to know the ins and outs of all of these contracts.
Ain't this kind of cute? Isn't it this cute?
He's a fighter, man. What do fighters do? Fighters fight, right? Tell him where to be. Tell him what the bag is. He's going to show up. He's going to whoop ass. That's what his job is. It's not his job to look at the ins and outs and to know whether or not something's going to hold up in arbitration. I think he probably did think that the Saudis came up with the money, but also probably knew that, listen, I have a backup here, and the backup's still a pretty good option. The backup is that I whoop Deontay Wilder's ass for a third time, which is actually what's going to happen. So that's how I see it for Fury. Little egg on his face, but no big deal. We all been there. We just brushed that off. It's all good.
Man, H Money and Maestro are just going all in for Fury. Oh, Fury, he did nothing wrong. He's great. He came out looking great after this. Like, what? Look, I do agree. At least you did say he had some egg on his face about this, but I'm looking at a pattern of behavior. I'm sorry. He beat Vladimir Klitschko. He had to honor a rematch against Klitschko, and then he fought Klitschko. Oh, no, he didn't. Actually, that fight didn't happen, even though it was supposed to happen. Okay? And then he was gone for a couple years. He came back and he fought Wilder. They fought to a draw. They were supposed to do a rematch. And then, of course, they did the immediate rematch. And, no, that didn't happen, actually. He fought two or three tune-ups or whatever it was, right? And then he fought Wilder and he beat Wilder, right? And then, of course, as we know, the rematch. Oh, no, the rematch didn't happen. It had to go to arbitration, right? This is a pattern of behavior if I've ever seen one, right? Fury doesn't want to fight a high-profile fighter next. He just doesn't. I don't believe he was serious about fighting AJ, And I felt that if he did, I do think he would have lost because he would not have been ready. He likes to do his little tune-ups. You could shake your head, maestro. You could say no, but I just went over the pattern of behavior with you at the end of the day. This guy doesn't like to challenge himself back to back. He's never done it. Just my opinion. That's and we're gonna touch on that in a little bit. But let's get A-Rod's perspective here before I go to Beeb. A-Rod, how does this make Fury look?
Fury's not looking that bad, bro. He's over here doing what he's supposed to do, talk shit, because he's getting told that a fight's gonna happen. They were talking shit that he's part of the mob, so he started wearing all those silk shirts. He was popping his collar. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to talk shit. He's in the spot like fucking Mayweather, where you hate me or you love me, I'm still gonna make that money off of any fight that you give me. So, I mean, the one that, like, I gotta agree with these guys that Eddie Hearn's the one that's gonna look bad, or Bob Arum telling him, because he could just blame it on them. He was telling me that the fight was made and I was gonna win the arbitration. They're saying that, oh, there's many cases like this has happened, and they're the lawyers, so I gotta believe them, right? So he could just fucking bullshit up like he always bullshits, and he's gonna come out looking good with that silk shirt, just like El Chapo. He's coming out gaudy.
Okay, all right. Beeb, talk to us. How does this make Fury look?
Like he always looks. He creates chaos. That's part of his image. That's what he does. Like, are you surprised? He's getting attention. People are talking about him. People are looking at him. He just made the Joshua fight bigger when it does happen. He does things his way. You want me to fight in a rematch? No, I'll fight when I fucking want to fight. I'll fight my tune-ups when I want my tune-ups, and then I'll fight my rematches when I want my rematches. And what has history shown us? Pretty much plays out the way he wants it to play out, right? He had the 2 tune-ups, then he fought Wilder. What happened? He knocked them out. I feel pretty comfortable in agreeing with you that he didn't want Joshua next. I don't debate that one iota. But again, he's going to get what he wants. He's going to get the rematch. He's going to get the rematch, or he's going to get the rematch when he wanted it, right? It's going to be in front of a live crowd. He's going to get paid now, right? And he's going to fight Joshua when he wants to fight Joshua. This is what he does. He walks to a beat of his own drum. Whether you love him or hate him, you still talk about him. You still give him the attention. You're still going to watch his fights. You're going to buy his pay-per-views. So it doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm not going to say no to buying the paper because I'm going to watch it. But, like I guess, here's what I want to go to next year.
Not you, but the public. Well, you too, but the public in general. People are gonna continue to follow this guy, and they're always going to be like, what's this guy going to do next? What's this guy going to say next? He keeps you guessing. He makes things interesting. He's what they call a crazy maker. He loves chaos.
Must-see TV.
Must-see TV.
You guys could say that all you want, and here's the next one. I want to start with you with this question, babe. I already have you on the big Titantron on the big screen right there. You know what I mean? I want to ask you this. Will we get an Wilder Fury 3 but in 2020? Is that fight actually going to happen? Do you believe it's going to happen?
Well, according to Bob, do you think he'll go through with it? Do you think he'll go through with it? Is that your question?
Is it going to happen? Are they going to be in the ring, and are they going to fight?
Bob Arum confirmed it today on the interview with Boxing Social that the fight is done. That's what he said. Okay. So I don't know. I would assume that. Yeah, yes. To answer your question, do I believe that? Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do.
All right. Okay, Maestro, is the fight going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And what's crazy I don't think I've ever seen a fight happen like in terms of a negotiation so quick. I mean, it was only a few days ago when
very convenient.
It's like only a few days ago we're hearing that Fury versus Joshua's off, and all of a sudden they got the stadium ready. Contracts are signed. We're ready to go. It's fly. And it's funny. Where's Tyson Fury been training the last few weeks? He's already been camped out in Vegas It's his second home now, right? He's got a home there, right, B?
Got a house there.
So,
I may be going down there this weekend.
You know, they've been playing chess, and all these other dudes been playing checkers. Apparently, they ready to go.
Now, I see Drew Evo in the chat saying, "Oh, to D style, Wilder's a high-profile fight back to back." Like, look, fans need to be really careful how they word things and say things. Okay, the more you minimize Deontay Wilder as a fighter, the less impressive that win is. I'm just letting you guys know right now. Okay,
you're spitting all that.
Wilder's a top 5 fighter in the world. Stop saying things like he's not a top boxer in the world. Like, stop. Just stop saying nonsense like that. That's not like, I'm sorry, Drew, but unless you can name me 5 dudes better than Wilder in the heavyweight division right now, I don't want to hear it, bro. Like, no, Wilder's not a tune-up. I don't care what anybody says. I know a lot of people laughing at Wilder right now. He's a devastating puncher, and he can end a fight with one punch. I don't give a fuck who he's fighting.
There you go.
Anyone who's not taking that serious, I guarantee you, Fury will take that serious. And he has taken that serious. Fury's got on record to say, I think Wilder will knock out Anthony Joshua. I think he's more dangerous than him, right? Mm-hmm. So, let's think a little harder when we say things. Because if it was just a tune-up, we would have seen it by now. It wouldn't have gone to arbitration like it did. It just wouldn't have. I'm sorry. He wouldn't have needed 2 tune-ups for the rematch to adjust for the new style to fight him. It wouldn't have happened if it was just a tune-up.
Plus, if you're a Fury fan, give the dude full credit for his wins. Like, you don't want to belittle his opponents.
There you go.
Absolutely. Like, think a little bit about what you're saying sometimes, you know? Okay, dude, you read my comment. I didn't say tune-up. I said Wilder's back to my high-profile fight. It's a high-profile fight. If you want to make an argument that it's not, go ahead and make it. Otherwise, you don't have an argument. You're just saying that to say it.
What he's trying to say is he's trying to make a point that Fury is going to go back to back with tough fights because he's trying to challenge your point that Fury. But to your point though, there was a long period and it was stalled out. In other words, so it's like
yes,
it wasn't done the way it was supposed to be done. In other words, to support your
absolutely. Let's go to let's say Rod here. Do you believe the trilogy will happen this year?
I think it's gonna happen soon too, because both of them, like Mel Carr said, both of them have been in camp. Fucking Wilder's been showing his videos that he's been training, that he's been getting better. He's been hitting the mitts, you know what I mean, doing the jump rope. What people will say that he don't do, you know what I mean. So I think it's gonna happen soon. That way, in case they're gonna get that AJ fight, if it don't happen to where how you're talking about that he don't like to take back-to-back major fights like that. But I think they're gonna want to get that Undisputed since there's so much money in it, and they're gonna try to get the Wilder out of the way and then go in like about September, December to fucking fight AJ for all the belts.
Absolutely. Shout out to Andy Rodriguez, Ronald Finkley, Frank Yeager. You know, just let me tell you guys something. I have my doubts that this fight happens this year. I know Arum's out there saying, "Oh, the fight's already done," but like when he's saying it's already done, like is he confirming that it's already signed, sealed, and delivered? Where's the poster for the fight? Where's the announcement for the fight? Where's all that? I don't see any of that. Because they did a lot of that for the AJ Fury. I mean, they announced that they agreed in principle, and then they everything's all set. We just got to find a location. You know, that's what I like. So I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not too sure.
Well, we barely got Ramirez's poster like 2 weeks ago.
Well, can I add another point? He actually
go ahead. Yeah.
He actually went to a press conference for the second Klitschko fight. He did sign it, but he still didn't go through with it. So I mean,
nothing happened.
I can't. I mean, you have solid arguments. I can't refute them.
Money. Talk to us. Will we actually get the trilogy? Or you think some fucking business will happen and we won't see it?
Yeah, the trilogy, it should happen next. I've been seeing Deontay Wilder training. He got a new trainer, Malik Scott. We all know that Deontay Wilder had a fixed fight with his new trainer, Malik Scott. Yeah, we all know it. We seen the fight, man.
I love this kid so much.
Allegedly.
It's sad, man. I mean, Deontay Wilder, he should have got a real trainer. George Foreman reached out to him. George Foreman wanted to help Deontay Wilder. Floyd Mayweather reached out to Deontay Wilder, but he decided to go with another yes man, Malik Scott. So I just can't wait for this third fight. I know Deontay Wilder fans, this is what they wanted. This is what I want to see. I want Tyson Fury to shut Deontay Wilder up once and for all. He already knocked him out. He dominated him. Tyson Fury got robbed in that first fight against Deontay Wilder. He won that first fight, and in the second fight, he left us with no doubt. Stopped him in round number 7. Man, I just can't wait, to be honest with you, bro. I can't wait. I think the only people that don't want to see this fight are the Anthony Joshua fans, because Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they going to be in the biggest fight in boxing once again. What is Anthony Joshua going to be doing? Wilder and Fury brought the heavyweight division back. AJ, what have you been doing? Pulev, are you serious? A 40-year-old Pulev. 40-year-old Alexander Povetkin. You lost to Andy Ruiz. You know what I mean? Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, this is the third time they got in the ring together and fought. This is what it's all about. The best fighting the best. When is Anthony Joshua going to mix it up with one of these guys? I'm waiting, bro.
Well said. Well said, man. H Money on fire today. You know what I mean? The boxing story, man. I mean, again, I know you're calling Wilder a bum, brother, but look, I think Wilder has more than a decent shot to win that third fight. And I know a lot of Fury fans don't want to hear it, and no, it's not possible. Look at what he did in the rematch, and I understand we're not doing a breakdown of the fight, but I just want to give my quick thoughts on this, and I want to make sure people really understand.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Look, Fury blitzed Wilder in that second fight, and Wilder did not expect him to do that. None of us did. I don't know one person on YouTube that predicted that he was going to do that. No one saw that coming. He caught him off guard. Well, he's not going to catch him off guard this time with that, right? And game plans are about execution, and when you get somebody unexpected, you can execute it better. I honestly believe that. I'm favoring Fury in a third fight. But the people scoffing at the fact that Wilder could win, you might have a rude awakening. While it might surprise me if he does it, a lot of you are going to be shocked, right? You're going to be in a state of shock because you've convinced yourself that he has no shot. And I think that's extremely dangerous. You give a puncher 3 opportunities, he might hit one in those 3. That's just my opinion, all right? So, but if the fight happens, we'll go ahead and talk about it if and when that fight happens. But I still believe Wilder is a devastating puncher who can, maybe outside of Fury, knock anybody else out in the heavyweight division. So it's not out of the question that this guy is dangerous. I'm just putting that out there right now. All right. Now, speaking of the heavyweight division, WBO has already gone out and said, hey, you guys got 48 hours to prove that this fight with Fury is going to happen, or else Usyk's waiting, right? Because Hearn came out, I don't know if you guys saw it, and he said, well, we have options. We have Usyk, we have other guys on the table. I think the WBO saw that and we're like, well, what do you mean you have options? No. We gave you, an extension, for Usyk's mandatory, only if you're going to fight for Undisputed against Fury. Well, what do you mean you have options, right? So they're already coming out, man, and they're basically, it's pretty obvious. You're going to say, AJ, you have to fight Usyk. Usyk, of course, is the former undisputed cruiserweight, champion, and this is an opportunity for him to win 3 of the 4 belts against AJ. The danger is there. I heard you say that, H Money, so I wanted to start with you. talk to us. What chance you give Usyk against AJ? Is this a sleeper?
I give Usyk a good chance of beating Anthony Joshua. We all know Anthony Joshua was beatable. He got beat by Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz took that fight on a 5-week notice and knocked out Anthony Joshua. Like, nobody knew who Andy Ruiz was at that point. At that time, Andy Ruiz beat nobody in the top 10. Andy Ruiz wasn't even ranked in the top 10 and beat Anthony Joshua when he was out of shape. Now, Alexander Usyk has a good chance, even though he is a cruiserweight, even though he only has 2 fights in the heavyweight division. Styles makes fights. He's way faster than Anthony Joshua. He can box. He can move. I think Usyk can give Anthony Joshua a lot of problems. Like I said earlier, Michael Hunter, he said he's picking Usyk to beat AJ. So I think it's a very close fight. I'm going to lean towards Anthony Joshua because he's bigger, but I wouldn't be surprised if Alexander Usyk is able to beat Anthony Joshua. I won't be surprised, man. We've seen AJ get beat before by a lesser opponent in Andy Ruiz. So anything is possible in the heavyweight division, man. And we know Anthony Joshua, he doesn't have the best chin in boxing. We've seen Anthony Joshua get hurt by Dillian White. We've seen Anthony Joshua get stopped by Andy Ruiz. Some people thought he quit in that fight. He spit his mouthpiece out, turned his back to the referee, shook his head because he didn't want to be in there anymore. We've seen Anthony Joshua get dropped by Vladimir Klitschko. He almost got stopped in that fight. We've seen Anthony Joshua get hurt by Alexander Povetkin. So I think Usyk has a good chance, bro. Don't be surprised if Usyk beats him. Don't be surprised, guys.
And there you go. A-Rod, talk to us, brother. How do you see Usyk's chances against Anthony Joshua? It looks like WBO is going to enforce that mandatory.
Well, I always say everybody keeps on going to the Andy Ruiz, but Andy Ruiz was a rude awakening for AJ because AJ was already fighting comfortably, just like freaking Lomachenko was when he went in there with Teofimo. He ran into somebody that ain't going to back down. He's just going to keep on coming, and he's going to keep on throwing punches no matter what you do. And AJ has never fought somebody like that. Like I mentioned after that fight, nobody told AJ to not go toe-to-toe with the Mexican because it's not going to come out good. And that was a rude awakening. Hopefully he learned from that and he keeps focused and he's going to come out good. I think he has a better chance. He has the strength and the skill to be able to do it.
All right. Usyk boxes AJ for the Irish Drew. Lisa, she says, she's got AJ winning. Maestro, talk to us. What are Usyk's chances against Anthony Joshua? Are you finally going to say some positive things about Anthony Joshua?
Well, first of all, I got to say this, right? I'm the maestro. I'm a teacher. I got different degrees and stuff, but it's a pleasure listening to H Money, and I'll tell you why. One thing I wish I had up on that wall right there is my graduate certificate from the School of Real Ninjas. Like, we sharpened our swords at the same school. H Money's also a graduate of School of Real Ninjas, man, because everything he said, I will double down on. And I want to add on a second point, and it's this. AJ didn't do too well against Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the quickest. He's definitely not the most powerful heavyweight in the world. And
He's got fast hands.
Not as fast as
Parker's hands are fast, brother.
Not as fast as Usyk. And he definitely doesn't have Usyk's footwork. Now, look, it all depends on one factor, the referee. Because if we get a referee that was the referee, I forget his name, I believe it was an Italian dude that was refereeing the fight with him and Parker. We had another referee that did a terrible job in the fight with him and Takam. If he's allowed to go back to the 70s, get that nice bass line out there, right, and play that Barry White music and start hugging, it's going to be a problem for Usyk. If Huggy Bear comes out and uses the Huggy tactics, the 1-2 clinch, unwillingness to engage, which is what he did in the Ruiz rematch, that's going to be a problem for anybody, let alone an undersized heavyweight like Usyk. But if he's given a fair platform to perform on with a fair referee and 3 fair judges, yes, Usyk can outbox AJ over 12 rounds. Ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Hey, Joe Habib, talk to us.
I'm going to disagree with the panel on this one. I'm not really impressed with Usyk at heavyweight. I think the style that gives Joshua problems is a style with an opponent who can fight very well on the inside, kind of grind it out with them. He likes to fight in the mid range. He's an adequate outside fighter, but his game is the mid range. The best way to beat him is on the inside, because he has a hard time fighting guys off on the inside because he needs space to throw his punches. And he'll hold, but when he holds, it's not like he'll grab you and clinch you. He holds to freeze the action, like just as a defensive mechanism. Doesn't hold you to gain leverage over you or to position you or to walk you back or to muscle you or manhandle you. He just holds you and freezes you there and doesn't do anything until the ref says break. That's what he does. So Usyk doesn't have that ruggedness to him, doesn't have that physical strength and just the grittiness on the inside that aggravates Joshua. We saw Andrew Ruiz give him, what he did on the inside, obviously stopped him because he got up close and Joshua had a hard time dealing with that. We saw in the Takam fight, when Takam got close, how he looked uncomfortable. We saw Povetkin got up close and he didn't look great. He was landing some short hooks in that fight, short right hands when he got up close. I don't think this style is the type of style that is going to bother AJ, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know Usyk's fast, but he's going to have to come into the line of fire. He's going to have to step into the kitchen to get his stuff off. And you can only move so much in a fight. And at some point, you have to hold your ground, stand there and fight. And when that moment arises in this fight, I think Usyk gets stopped. I think Anthony Joshua is going to stop Alexander Usyk in the 8th round. That's my pick.
Whoa, halfway. He'll barely get past the halfway mark. Well, first of all, let me first say this. Pound for pound, Usyk is one of the best in the game. But, obviously he's fighting in a division where he is, quote unquote, undersized. But is he any more undersized than Andy Ruiz? Or is he? He's not carrying a bunch of lard on him, but is he any more undersized than Areola was, or guys that were just out of shape, so they had a lot of extra excess? I don't want people to get mad at me for fat shaming, but
I was just about to say, stop the fat shaming.
No, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Whoa.
You're 100% correct, D-Style. He's taller than Andy Ruiz.
Is he any more undersized than Andy Ruiz? Really?
No.
Like if you really think about it, if Andy Ruiz got his optimum weight, would he weigh as much as Usyk? Probably.
He'd be a cruiser.
Yeah, I think Usyk, first of all, is growing into the division. That's number one. He'll never be a big heavyweight, right? So that's not what I'm saying, right? But I think he took the punches from Chisora just fine. And I seen Chisora knock 6'5" and up dudes down and under. Timber! And he knocked those dudes out. You know what I mean? I saw, him. Chisora went full 12 against one of the best heavyweights of this generation in Vitaly. So to expect Usyk doesn't have power because he didn't stop Chisora. Okay. I never really seen Chisora stop like that. I seen him. I talked to Beeb earlier, so yes, Fury stopped him, but like that was an accumulation.
Yeah.
And Fury's like a dude at 6'9".
Chisora's durable. He went the distance with Vitaly Klitschko. He's definitely durable.
Yeah, like that's a durable guy. And guess what? He hurt Chisora late in that fight.
He did.
I saw it. So now that's it. Chisora's also a guy that fights very good on the inside, right? And I feel that type of style, if there was one that there was a danger, it would have been that. But Usyk handled it pretty decent. I'm not going to say he handled it well because those rounds where he didn't, but he handled it decently, right? Sure. I mean, I don't, stylistically, they're going to be fighting from distance. I don't know if AJ's going to be using his size and muscling him around, and that's just not really AJ's style. I do think Usyk will catch him with right hands. I do think he'll win some rounds. But with all that said, I do agree with Beeb that AJ will knock him out. Like,
it was awesome.
But no, awesome. Because I just think eventually AJ will catch him.
That was a long way around to get to that.
No, but you know why? Because
it's substance, and I agree with you, D-Star. You put a lot of substance on that.
If Wilder wasn't in the division, who would be known as a power puncher of the division?
AJ.
He would be known as the power puncher of the division.
I would agree.
You know? So I think eventually there's less margin for error. Isn't that fair to say? Usyk has less of a margin of error than Usyk. He could afford to make more mistakes than Usyk can. Usyk can't afford to make a mistake and get clipped with a big right hand and a hook against AJ. He just can't. Yeah. You know? And that uppercut, I'm just saying, I mean, it's a killer uppercut. All right. So that's that, you know. I do believe I asked everybody, right? I think everybody give their take.
Yeah, everyone has a take, I think. Yeah.
All right. Did anybody want to add anything really quick about Usyk, Joshua? Anything lingering before we move on?
This is about the judges. How there's always pointed out that fucking AJ gets the ref also to fucking give him a little bit more time. We've seen it in the Parker fight. We've seen it in the Andy Ruiz fight where he was thinking that he was going to get away with just leaning on the ropes and getting extra time to fucking kick back. And that's where a lot of problem happens. And that's why he don't like to get out of that comfort zone and fight in his own area. I mean, if he comes over here, he's going to get a different referee that's not going to let him get away with a lot of the shit. So bring it over here if you want a fair fight.
I'll add one last point. I've noticed Joshua's starting slower and slower as his career goes on. Like he doesn't really come out as aggressive as he did when he was younger in his career. And as it reminds me of Klitschko. Remember how Klitschko used to be real aggressive when he was younger, and then as time went on, he became more methodical. I'm starting to see that from Joshua. So if he starts slow in this fight, Usyk can kind of steal a few early rounds and make this fight interesting. So that's another thing I didn't mention in the breakdown that I probably should have.
Okay. All right. Interesting matchup, though, and a lot of people are saying, man, Usyk's a dangerous fight. And I do think there is something there. Like if AJ has a bad night, you never know. He might get upset. And he's had those bad nights before, right? So
Correct.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing I want to add now, Usyk, he was on Instagram yesterday, and he said, Eddie, I need the money. He was saying, come on, you got to pay me. So we got to see what happens because Usyk said Eddie Hearn got to pay him. So I just want everybody to take that into consideration.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, take out that wallet, Eddie. You know what I mean? And pay the man. Yeah. Plus, he already knows you got a sweet deal with Saudi.
The fight is sold already.
Yeah, that's right. You know, if I'm Usyk, I probably would rather fight him in Saudi Arabia than England anyway, right?
I have a feeling the fight is going to be in Saudi. That's my prediction.
I mean, wouldn't you rather fight him in Saudi Arabia than in the UK?
Yes.
I mean, shit. That's what I would say.
More money at this point.
That's right. Shout out to Lisa Bales, Frank Yeager, Toby Bartlett, Stephen. How's it going, man? We got Big Dog Willie on here. G Garcia, Nando Llamas, who says that Wilder would spark out Usyk. That's an interesting match, in my opinion, as well. By the way, okay. So,
and one thing you don't want to forget about is Anthony Joshua, his fatigue issues. He does get tired in fights, so. You guys don't want to forget about that. If he gets tired in there, Usyk can outbox him, bro. You know, so just don't forget about his fatigue problems. He always gets tired. He got tired in that Pulev fight, but he ended up knocking him out towards the end of the fight.
Now I know, like I just want to make sure because I mean, and that's true. He has like those 2 rounds, like where he's waiting for a second win. Happens almost all the time, but I think he's gotten better at it. But I mean, just to say something positive about AJ, how about that pull counter he was pulling off against Pulev? We don't see these other heavyweights do pull counters like that. Even Floyd was ringside, like admiring the pull counters of AJ. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody do pull. I don't see Fury doing pull counters. I don't see Wilder doing pull counters. Not even Usyk. Okay, I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I know you like that punch. I know you do. But do you really think that Fury couldn't do that to Pulev?
No.
Fury reminds me.
Pulev is 40. What you say to be?
I was gonna say Fury reminds me of the Matrix.
Bro, I love that lead left hand he throws from the southpaw stance. I mean, he's got a lot of shit in his arsenal.
Yeah. I like how Milker's like, oh, you don't think Fury could do it? Like, well, until he does it, we can't say he can. Okay, how about that? All right,
that's fair enough.
I see him doing it.
Pulev is 40. Pulev is a 40-year-old. So
yeah,
I mean,
but he was like a fine wine 40. You know what I mean? Like
he was actually a very inactive 40-year-old.
He was
like a Gamboa 40.
Beeb's
a Gamboa 40.
Beeb's 52 and he looked younger than Pulev.
This is true.
Pulev, I don't know what happened. He took away Pulev's jab. It was beautiful performance by AJ. But with that said, we have a big fight, guy. We've just been talking about the undisputed fight that did not happen. By the way, G Funky wants at least just one block squad.
Block squad. I can't do it, man.
Come on.
You're putting me up there like Undertaker when Booker T wanted him to do the
block squad. Come on, I know you could do it.
Block squad.
There you go. Yeah, all right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right there. All right. Now let's go ahead, guys.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and talk about the undisputed fight that is happening. Okay, that is Jose Ramirez out of Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. Okay, he's got 2 straps, right? And then Josh Taylor, right? He's got 2 straps. Okay, this is a fight that I've been anticipating. It is the hardcore boxing fans' Super Bowl of the year almost. You know what I mean? Like we know about it. We care about it. It's significant. It's for supremacy at 140 pounds. Both guys got 2 belts. So equal, like both of them have, conquered and gotten the belts and done the work. Both of them made it very easy to make the fight. We didn't hear any talk about health and I need to make 10 times more because of this and that, and none of that. Both of them are very confident going into the fight. Josh Taylor thinks it's going to be an easier fight than the Prograis fight. Ramirez feels like he can definitely beat, Josh Taylor. So, H Money, Ramirez versus Taylor. Who's winning this fight?
I'm going with Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor's a very good boxer. He has tremendous skills, and this is what boxing is all about. One face, one champion, one name. We need an undisputed champion in every weight class. Josh Taylor, undefeated champion, coming off winning the World Boxing Super Series. You know what I mean? Unified champion, undefeated Josh Taylor. Coming off a big win against Regis Prograis, he beat Victor Postal, and he knocked out, I believe, Ivan Baranchyk. So, man, I'm a big-time fan of Josh Taylor. Jose Ramirez, another great fighter, undefeated, unified champion. Jose Ramirez bringing the smoke. He definitely going to bring the pressure. And I think the difference in the fight will be the speed of Josh Taylor. Jose Ramirez, he's very powerful. He's a great body puncher, but he's slow. He's very slow with his punches. I think the speed of Josh Taylor will be the difference. Josh Taylor reminds me of a modern-day Joe Kawasaki. You know what I mean? Both from the UK, tremendous hand speed, great inside fighter, punches and bunches. It's going to be a great fight. And I watched the face-off today at the press conference, and Josh Taylor is actually taller than Jose Ramirez. I didn't know that. He looked taller. I think Josh Taylor going to outbox him. I got Josh Taylor winning by split decision. I was leaning towards unanimous, but now I'm gonna lean towards a split decision. I got Josh Taylor, man. Speed kills. Speed kills. Josh.
H Money went from unanimous to split. I mean, we may just convince him. I don't know, but let's see. Let's see. But Maestro, who do you got winning this fight? Who's going to win this fight?
Oh, this is like the toughest fight that I've been asked to pick pretty much in my recent memory. I was watching you and G Funky doing your thing last night. Shout out to HCP Uncensored Wednesday nights on G Funky Boxing. And you were throwing up a whole lot of highlights of Josh Taylor getting hit by Regis Prograis, acting as if you've never seen a boxer get hit in his face or in his body before. But you know what I really noticed when I watched those highlights, D-Style?
Yeah.
I didn't really see Josh Taylor running or backing up. What I kept seeing him doing was spinning around, and trying to occupy the center of the ring. Now, he seems to believe that Jose Carlos Ramirez's words are correct in that he's going to try to use a very attacking come forward style. He's going to kind of try to pressure him and break him down in the later rounds. I think he's prepared for that. I think it's going to be a close fight. I know Beeb's prediction for this because I've heard it a number of times. I don't think that that's likely going to happen, but I'm willing to eat crow if it does. I like Jose Ramirez. I think he's a fantastic man. I think he's a fantastic boxer. I think he's got all the skills in the world. I think he beats everyone at 140 except for Josh Taylor.
Okay. All right. And look, and I've gone on record. I did a video like a while back, and I think it was one of the early HCPs. I said this, and I'm sticking to it. Josh Taylor beats Prograis. Ramirez beats Taylor. Prograis beats Ramirez. That's just how I feel about it. That has not changed. Babe, talk to us. Who's going to win this fight, Babe?
Well, there's not been a great deal of promotion about this fight, but I've been talking a lot about this fight all week. I've been breaking this fight down like once a day. And I don't mind doing it either, to be honest. Both guys can fight great on the inside. Josh Taylor, maybe the quicker of foot, but I don't think Ramirez is particularly slow. Andre Ward made a statement a long time ago, and it always stuck with me. He goes, a lot of guys could fight well offensively on the inside, but they can't always defend well on the inside. Big thing here is I think Ramirez, like I said before, and I'll say it again, when he gets inside, he's really good at bobbing and weaving, throwing feints, constantly moving his head, and he's just so aggressive with his pressure, and he knows how to get underneath his opponent's jab. It's hard to keep him on the outside. He always finds a way and gets in your chest. Josh Taylor, even though he's a very good outside boxer, he always tends to oblige guys and go to war with them and meet them in the center of that ring and jump in the phone booth. But the problem is, this is what we're taught in the gym. When you go inside and you're up close, you go small. When you're outside, you go tall. One thing I hate about Josh Taylor is when he goes inside, he stays tall. And he gives up his body and he kind of squares up a little bit. I don't think he defends that well, or at least as well as Ramirez on the inside. That's the big problem. I think he tends to fade later in fights. He tends to slow down. I thought he lost 2 of the last 3 rounds against Prograis. I had Prograis nick in that fight. And I said this before, and I'll say it again as well. Prograis is more of an in-and-out ambush type style fighter, right? Goes in, flurries, boom, 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 goes out. He actually stayed in the pocket on the inside with Taylor, and in a lot of spots and at points in that fight, he outfought Taylor on the inside. And I was very surprised that he was able to do that, because that's something I did not picture. So I'm just envisioning these guys going to war in the center of the ring, and I'm seeing a smaller, more compact, a guy with a sturdier construct on the inside going up against a taller, longer guy like this. And I'm just seeing that guy getting underneath shots. I'm not saying he's not going to get caught with anything, but I'm seeing a lot of the shots he's catching. He's going to be like tucking his chin. He's going to be braced for those shots. He's going to be catching a lot of those shots on the top of the head. Whereas I'm going to see Taylor giving up his whole body, his whole torso. And I think that Ramirez is going to take advantage of that. And I think as the fight wears on, I see Ramirez grinding it out and grinding Taylor down. And I think he's going to stop him in the 10th round. And I don't want to, cast a dark cloud over this fight, but I'm hearing some things. I'm hearing that Taylor is having a horrible time making weight. I suspect, and again, I'm not coming up with conspiracy theories, I suspect he may have to jump on the scale twice. That's my opinion. Also seeing he looks to be a little bit under the weather. I heard he came over like 10 days ago. He's coming from a cooler climate to a warmer climate. He looks to be a touch under the weather. I hear him in interviews. He's coughing a little bit and he's sniffling a little bit. He may be a little bit under the weather. I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but I think he's got some issues going into this fight, and I think that's going to also make it harder for him to go the distance in this fight and to not fade down the stretch. So I think Ramirez is going to be the better inside fighter here. He's going to be the tougher, stronger guy, and he's going to be the guy with more in the tank in the later rounds, and he's just gonna wear Josh Taylor out. And I think Josh Taylor is going to get stopped in 10 rounds.
Joe, one of those things real quick was something that we heard from EJ on your live. I think it was Tuesday, right? Or Wednesday, I forget which day. He actually got there 4 weeks ahead of time. It wasn't 10 days. He's been in Vegas for a full 4 weeks.
Okay. So, I stand corrected on that. I thought I heard him say that he's been here for 10 days. I don't know.
It might have been on the show, but like I said on your live, those are filmed like weeks in advance.
Okay. Could be correct. Oh, another thing, I'm glad you brought up EJ, because he actually mentioned something to me that Ben Davidson is actually training Josh Taylor. Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of Ben Davidson as a trainer. I didn't think he did a great job even as well as Tyson Fury did against Wilder. He was actually going back and forth with Freddie Roach. He was arguing with him. He was kind of having issues with Mark Tibbs in the Billy Joe Saunders fight. Freddie Roach said that, this guy's too much of a defensive trainer. I don't like the fact that Ben Davidson is in Josh Taylor's corner for the biggest fight of his life right now. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of, with all due respect, I'm not a big fan of Ben Davidson as a trainer. I just don't think he's a good trainer.
Hey, Rod, how do you feel about it, brother? How do you see this fight? Taylor versus Ramirez, right? And can you roll the R? Ramirez, you know what I mean? No, but who's going to win this fight, brother, in your opinion?
First off, I got to say salute to Jose Ramirez. If we ever fucking thought about anybody getting fame and not doing things for us, Ramirez is showing different. He's doing this fight and dedicated this fight to the campesinos, to the farm workers out here in California, right around for his people, the raza, you know what I mean? He's doing it for them and speaking out for them, and salute to him. Also, somebody else from the 559 that's fighting this weekend too, Evan Sanchez, salute to him. But I got Ramirez in this fight because he's from my area also. But I love this fight, man. I like Taylor's style. He showed us that he could fight on the inside and he could box on the outside. And I love fighters that could do both and be able to get that grind. And it's going to be an interesting fight. And I think Shushan mentioned earlier that it's going to be a fight that's going to be over 1,000 punches. And I agree, man. It's going to be a good fight. I'm getting into Ramirez, just a stronger, hungrier man. He's going to take him to the body and get him to fight on the inside. And Taylor doesn't shy away from going on the inside. And we've seen him with a big old swollen side of the face coming out of fights, and he's ready to fight all the time. I'm glad this fight happening, especially as an undisputed fight. But I'm definitely getting this fight.
Right. Okay. Let me tell you something. Okay, let me tell all you something. Let me tell H Money something. Let me tell Maestro something. Let me tell all you something, okay? This is, first of all, like I concede it is a close fight. And it's not out of the question that Taylor could win because it's that close. But we don't ride the fence on HCP. Like, you know what I mean? We don't like, we do picks. I'm going to go with Ramirez. I think Ramirez will win. I think Ramirez has the tools necessary to beat Josh Taylor. I keep hearing Josh Taylor, he's a superior boxer to Ramirez. Based on what? I don't know. Right. Other than maybe what he does maybe looks prettier the way Ramirez does it. Maybe it's just more pleasing to your eye or something. I don't know. I think sometimes guys do it in a very blue collar way and it doesn't look as pretty. But what matters in boxing is not how something looks. What matters in boxing is what's effective. That's what matters in boxing. It could look ugly as fuck, but if it's getting the job done, it's getting the job done. Right? That's just my opinion. Okay. Haplotype has Ramirez for the record, he said. Okay. Also, I think Ramirez is very fluid on the inside, and I don't think Josh Taylor's ever fought anybody like that. I just don't. Okay. Is Ramirez perfect? No. But neither is Josh Taylor. Maestro mentioned HCP. You guys keep playing clips of Ramirez and all that, and then playing the clips of Josh Taylor, and you play clips of Josh Taylor getting battered around by Postol. The only reason we played those clips is because there was people acting like that those clips didn't exist. Like Josh Taylor fans were saying. In fact, forget his fans. Josh Taylor himself was saying, "Oh, I'm not impressed with Ramirez's performance against Postol. He looks so good to me." Okay, so let's watch. So that compelled me to go back and watch the fight. That compelled G-Funk to go back and watch the fight. I'm sure B went back and watched the fight. And guess what? Taylor didn't look all that good against Postol either. Some people, not me, like I feel Taylor won, but some people argue that Postol could have won a fight. We want to keep it real. Some people feel the only difference was the knockdown. That's it. And you know what? I don't know if B would agree with this. You could score that seventh round could be a 10-8 because he was getting battered around that round. I don't do 10-8s without knockdowns, but some people do. Right? So that's why, because it was a response to what people were saying. It was a response to what Josh Taylor was saying. That's what it was a response to. But the inside game. Andre Ward, and I want your thoughts on this, Beeb. Andre Ward came out and he made a statement that he doesn't think Josh Taylor's the best on the inside, right? That's what Andre Ward said. It made Taylor got mad and a lot of his fans got mad. What do you mean? Look at the combinations on the inside. In your opinion, Beeble, what do you think Ward was talking about?
What I said, he can't defend on the inside. I mean, it's one thing being offensively skilled on the inside, but you have to also be able to position your body and not be able to not have to take shots. If you're standing straight up and you're getting your shit off and stuff's coming back at you, but you can't get out of the way of it, or you're standing so tied up that your whole torso is exposed, then that's the issue. That's where I got that from. Like, I remember back in 2011, Ward said this. This is almost 10 years ago. He said a lot of people can fight offensively on the inside, but they can't defend on the inside. He even said that about Froch. He said Froch isn't that bad fighting offensively on the inside. But once again, if you watch Froch when he's up close, he's straight up and squared up too. So the reason why we can't put Josh Taylor videos up here is because MTK Global will put out a cease and desist and make us take them down. That's the issue. I have to be honest.
Well, there you go.
But that's what Andre Ward meant, because that's what he said 10 years ago.
Now, Maestro, if you want to add anything in terms of, what do you believe? Like if you take an honest look, like what do you believe like people picking Ramirez are missing that you believe we're overlooking? Like, what do you see in Taylor?
I mean, look, I think that you could pick either one of these guys in this fight, which is why I think it's such a great fight, as it should be. It's two guys, each bringing 2 titles, contesting themselves for the undisputed 140-pound championship of the world. I just feel that, and I'm just flat out say it, there's a bias against European fighters. There's a bias against white guys from Europe. People think they're a little bit frail. People think they're a little bit soft. People think that if they get hit to the body, they're just going to fall over. I've debated so many people. I see Haplotype in the chat there. One thing we have in common is like the disrespect, our view of the disrespect that Joe Calzaghe received.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that in boxing. So, I think that is part of it. I think that there's a general feeling that if Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez engage on the inside, that Ramirez, being the Mexican American, is going to fold up Josh Taylor because he's just another white boy out of Scotland. And I don't necessarily buy into that. I see Josh Taylor losing the fight if, you look at it tactically the way Joe does, right? If you look at it from the perspective of he's going in there with a game plan that's too cautious, that's too defensively minded, where he's not throwing enough punches, and where he's also not prepared to fight effectively on the inside. Like, I'll take that, and I'll say, yeah, that's a clear path to victory for Ramirez. What I'm not going to take are the kind of idiots that were on, like, there was a guy on your show last night, D-Style, that wouldn't shut up, interrupting you, interrupting G-Funky, interrupting Joe Habib. And, I mean, he, at the entire time, did not lay out a case for how Ramirez was going to win. He just laid out a faith, a belief that Ramirez was going to fold up Taylor. And again, I think there's a bit of that at play.
There's no doubt. Here's what I'll say. There's no doubt, guys, that when it comes to like the will and like the will to fight and grit his teeth and show us that he can like okay, it's going to be a war of attrition. He's already been in that fight against Prograis. He's already proven that he can deal. And Prograis is a hell of a hitter, right? H Money, do you think that Taylor's already proven himself to be that warrior? Even so, what if he's from Europe? He's already proven he can be in that war of attrition.
Absolutely. D-Style, he showed it in the World Boxing Super Series. The man entered the tournament, and we know in tournaments there's no ducking. So, yeah, he showed us tremendous heart with that eye. You remember that, how swollen his eye was against Regis Prograis. Josh Taylor's a warrior. He deserves the respect. He's a Ring Magazine champion. You know what I mean? Unified champion. The guy deserves all the respect. He can fight. I don't care where he's from. I don't care what color he is. He can fight his ass off. And I just want to say one more thing, man, how big this fight is for boxing, bro. Top Rank is winning at the end of the day. This is on ESPN. Everybody can watch this. Everybody will be tuned in. This is great for boxing, bro.
Hey, absolutely, man. Well said. Okay, and I do want to let everybody know, man, after the show, Maestro will be live on his channel. That's Roundtable Overtime. All right, you see how quick I got that, Maestro? Shit, I'm like, it's the way it is. You know what I mean? But that'll be on Maestro's YouTube channel after this, and he'll post a link and all that when we get closer to that. Okay. A-Rod, anything you wanted to add about this, brother? As this fight.
Well, you were mentioning earlier that it's about what you actually do in the fight, because everybody talks about the speed, that somebody is faster, but we've seen it time and time with Chavez Sr. against Roger Mayweather, against Madrick Taylor. We've seen Marquez versus freaking Manny Pacquiao, 4 great fights, and he still came out fucking almost victorious in all of them. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that he lost some of them. A lot of people think that he won all of them. And the last one, he clearly knocked them out, even getting out punched and everything, the bloody nose and all that. So it's just an effectiveness of the punches that's going to come into this fight, and who's going to place those punches a lot clearer and a lot more effective. And we're going to see, like everybody says, just like the bias that Maestro was talking about. There's always a bias against Mexicans saying that they're flat-footed, they can't move around the ring, and all of that. Well, we're gonna see what Ramirez is made of in this fight.
I think it's okay for people to go with their fighters of their culture and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that obviously the Hispanic population is going to be behind Ramirez, and the UK population is going to be behind Josh Taylor. And that's just the way it is. But I think Maestro's point is well taken too, that people can just go overboard with just these blanket statements they make. And I think A-Rod had basically made a good argument as well for the Hispanic fighters, is that people just make these blanket statements. It's one thing to have pride for your ethnic background and stuff like that, but to go overboard and just make a blanket diminishing type statement towards somebody, it's almost like stereotypical. I don't think that's cool either. So just wanted to put that out there.
Hey D, one more point, D. I forgot to mention. What? I'm sorry. Josh Taylor was a free agent, right? After he won the World Boxing Super Series, he was a free agent. He could have signed with anyone, but this is the fight that he really wanted. That's why he came to Top Rank for this Undisputed fight. So, I got to tip my hat off to him again for making this fight happen. Both of them, Jose Ramirez for accepting the challenge, and Josh Taylor, pursuing this fight by signing with Top Rank. So, I got to give both fighters credit right here.
Bro, this is his 18th fight. He's been fighting for the same amount of time. He's the same age as the British heavyweight, the light heavyweight that just fought on Saturday. Fuck, I can't remember his name. I'm tripping right now. The one that knocked out how do I remember Dos Santos?
Boazzi?
Joshua Boazzi, absolutely.
Yeah.
Same age, been boxing for a similar amount of time. Bro, this is his 18th fight, and he's fighting for the undisputed 140-pound championship of the world. He went into that World Super Series of boxing again with 14 fights, I think, at the time. For you to question this man's heart, is ridiculous. Look,
you can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it.
I mean, I see people doing it in the chat already tonight about Eurobum and Europeans being all soft and stuff. That is not what HCP is about. That's not what D-style boxing is about. That's definitely not what anyone on this panel is about. We look at the intangibles. We look at the skill set. We look at tactics. We don't just base our decisions based on where a person's from and some stupid stereotype about soft Europeans. Don't give me that junk if that's why you're picking Ramirez. Show me a path to victory. Joe did it. D-Style did it, right? Just as H-Money did it the opposite way. But let's keep the other stuff out of it, man, because it's not intelligent talk.
No, and I do want to say that the truth is the other way. I feel that since Ramirez is Hispanic and people just assume, he's just a come forward guy.
100%. It goes
like he's gotten that. That's why he doesn't have skill. But dude, he was an Olympian.
Facts.
You're not an Olympian if you don't got skills. Period. You know what I mean? So now they're both obviously were great amateurs. But my point is, just dismissing Ramirez's amateur pedigree, to me, I don't know about that, man. And not only that, here's something that Pete mentioned, he's not impressed with the corner, and I'm impressed with Ramirez's corner.
Yeah,
100%,
big time,
100%. And if you want to look,
I disagree.
Go ahead, H Money.
Go ahead, H.
No, I just want to tell Beeb I did disagree with Ben Davidson, the statement. I think Ben Davidson, one of the best young trainers in boxing. He was responsible for bringing Tyson Fury back when Tyson Fury was 400 pounds out of shape. That was Ben Davidson that worked him back into shape. And Ben Davidson, I think this win right here, Beeb, I got a question for Beeb. So if Josh Taylor is successful, would you give Ben Davidson his credit as a trainer?
Yeah, we have to give him his credit as a trainer.
Of course.
What's crazy about Ben Davidson is that he's only 24 years old, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. And anyone questioning Ramirez's skill set, look how he closes the gap in fights. That's fucking skill. There's not a lot of guys that do that, man, against. And the other thing is what you got to realize again about Taylor and Ramirez, the shit that they're doing in the ring, they're doing it against world-class championship level fighters. They're not doing it against like the Edgar Berlanga level opponents and shit like that. They're doing it against the best in the world. These are two very skilled boxers that do their craft on the highest level.
Now, I don't know when this happened, but like when someone says he has to box him, I know what they mean. Like they mean be on your back foot and move, stick and move. I know what that means, but bro, like in Marcus of Queensberry, there's different ways you could box. You know, I know it's became like a acceptable to just accept boxing on your back foot to be the term boxing. But you could box at mid-range. You could box on the inside. You know what I mean? You could box from distance like ambush fighters do. Like there's different ways to box. So when people say he's a better boxer, I'm interpreting that as he boxes better on his back foot than Ramirez, right? That's my interpretation of it. Because I don't know if he's a better inside fighter than Ramirez. You know what I mean? I'm not convinced that he is. You know, could he prove me wrong? Sure. If he gives Ramirez a boxing lesson on the inside, I'll come out here and I'll give him all the credit in the world. But I need to see it because I think those hooks to the body are coming, and that's one thing that shout out to David Benavides pointed out. You know that he doubles up the hook to the body, and he's right about that. You know what I mean? And that's a fighter catching that and seeing that. Now he admitted it's his friend and he's a little biased, but still. You know what I mean? Speaking of Hispanic causing panic, last Tuesday we had Hannah Gabriels and David Benavides. Make sure you check that out on Archive if you haven't already. Right? Great show, good interviews. The timestamps are in the comment section in case you want to do that, or go to G Funky Boxing channel and you could check out the David Benavides interview. It's on there as well. And of course, Roundtable Overtime after this show. Here's what I want to talk about next, guys. So we're hyping this fight, and it's almost like we haven't seen Top Rank really promoted like that. And the more Arum's talking, I'm looking at Boxingscene. Arum's talking about how he wants to put the winner in the ring with Crawford. Like he's treating this like some eliminator. You know, like what is going on here, Joe? Babe, what do you make of that? What's your overall thoughts on the Ramirez Taylor winner fighting Crawford at 147 later on this year, as Arum suggested? Stories on Boxingscene.com, everybody.
I think it's putting the cart before the horse. You know what I mean? I think it's too early to talk about something like that. Let's focus on the fight first, because we don't even know who's going to win. To be fair, I've been hearing for the last eight months to a year that Josh Taylor's having problems making 140. So I understand he himself has been talking about moving up after this fight, but we haven't heard Ramirez say that. So are they just assuming that Taylor's going to win, or like I don't know. I don't know, but it seems like it's taking away from this fight and trying to give Crawford more shine. Crawford has nothing to do with this fight. So let's focus on these two fighters here. But then, and that's no disrespect to Crawford, but he has nothing to do with this fight. So let's just wait for this fight to take place, and let's wait for the result, and then we can make the decision after that. Bob Arum is very weird like that, because a lot of times when people ask him questions like that, he'll snap at them. Whoa, we don't even know what's gonna happen. Let's wait till this fight's over. But for some reason, he's just so inconsistent with the way he looks at things. It's bizarre to me.
Well said, man. H Money. What do you make of Arum already talking about the winner of this fight moving up and fighting Crawford at 147 pounds? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great for boxing, to be honest with you. Terrence Crawford, he needs a big fight. I think the winner of Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor, that'll be a big fight for Terrence Crawford. That's a big name on his resume. I'm loving it. I love what Top Rank is doing. As far as the matchmaking, the fights, putting it on ESPN. And by the way, Terrence Crawford is actually picking Josh Taylor to win this fight. So, I'm excited for Terrence Crawford. I'm excited for the winner. It's big fights, man. This is what we need in boxing. We need the big fights. And the winner of this fight will become a star. Will become a star in the sport of boxing.
That's right, everybody. Make sure you hit my like button. Let's get a 50 likes. Come on, let's get a 50. I believe in you guys. I really do. Hey, A-Rod. Talk to us, man. What are your thoughts on Arum talking about, doing this fight later in the year? The winner of this undisputed fight, moving up to 147 and fighting Terrence Crawford.
Just trying to see, let's see if he gets some noise out of it. That's what I mentioned in Black and Brown's channel one time, is that has Teofimo made enough noise for Ramirez or Taylor to stay at 140 to get a fight with him moving up? You know what I mean?
My opinion, yes.
Or is it a better fight for their legacy to move up and fight Terrence Crawford and try to get the win off of him? You know what I mean? So that's a gamble on both. They're both from Top Rank. Either fight is easy to make. So Bob Arum was trying to throw it out there, from what my opinion is, trying to throw it out there to see which one gets more hype, which gets talked about a lot more.
Okay.
Hey, I want to say one thing. Hey, Rod, the winner of Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor, will have a mandatory in position. So Bob Arum already said Teofimo Lopez won't get that fight because the winner will have a mandatory. But if they decide to move up to 147, there's no mandatories in the way and things of that nature. So I think it'll be more impressive for the winner to move up, up rather than fighting a fighter that's moving up itself, because Tio will have to move up, and that'll be his first fight in the weight class. So I know Tio wants to be undisputed in 2 weight classes, but, say if the winner vacates a belt.
Legacy-wise, Terrence Crawford makes more sense.
Okay, all right. Hey, well, look, Maestro, talk to us. How do you feel about it, brother?
Well, first thing I think is that Bob Arum and Top Rank are repeatedly failing as promoters. So I give out my grades usually every now and again. I'm giving Top Rank an F for number one, the way that Terrence Crawford's being promoted. And number two, the fact that they're putting the responsibility on the winner of Ramirez Taylor to come up with a solution for why Crawford doesn't have an opponent. I would put 2 middle fingers up in the air if I was the winner of that fight, and I would not fight Terrence Crawford. That's not my responsibility. It's just not. I would go after Teofimo Lopez. This is a much easier fight, and you're talking about taking on a guy that H Money just said is undisputed, looking to move up. So why take on Crawford? I mean, Crawford's having trouble finding a fight. That's why Arum's making this comment. Not their responsibility. I'm looking actually for an easy fight as my next fight. Matter of fact, I might not even take on Teofimo. Why should the winner of this fight, which we all say is going to be a close fight, a hard fight, a war, then go on and up in weight and take on Terrence Crawford? Get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that if I'm the winner of that fight. Not at all.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well said, Ramirez Taylor. And that's how I feel. It's like, hey, congratulations. You're the undisputed champion. Now you're going to go fight Terrence Crawford, and you're going to move up and wait to do it. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that is crazy, like, in my opinion. It's like they're treating this as an eliminator to fight whom some consider the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And not only that, like, it's kind of like, so we're done talking about Spence Crawford then, I guess, right? Go ahead, Pete.
I was just saying, I think sometimes people don't want to stay undisputed because they got to pay all those sanction fees.
That too. I do it.
It's like having 4 girlfriends, right? It's kind of like
it's a lot, man.
Lennox Lewis became undisputed, and once he did that, he just dropped the rest of the titles because everybody knew he was undisputed at that point.
Right. Oh, you're right. You're right. Hey, thank you guys. We got over 50 likes. I appreciate that very, very much. I do want to say we'll be doing the overtime for a little bit after the show, but we have reached the 12th and final round, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what that basically means, it's time for final thoughts. H Money, talk to us, brother. The floor is yours for about a good 2 minutes. You can talk about whatever you want, man. Give us your final thoughts, brother.
For sure. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me, D-Style. I appreciate the invitation. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Joe Habib, appreciate you, man. You one of the best in the business. Shout out to Maestro, man. Appreciate you, my brother. A-Rod, thank you. It was a great show once again. Man, I'm looking forward to this fight this Saturday. Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. 2 unified champions, undefeated in their primes, fighting for legacy on ESPN. Everybody could tune in. You know, I'm going with Josh Taylor. Like I said, I think Josh Taylor has the speed advantage. I think Josh Taylor can outbox Jose Ramirez. Also, man, I'm looking forward. Next Saturday, Devin the Dream Haney making his return back to the ring against Jorge Linares. I can't wait. I can't wait for that one. Also, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, man. I hope Tyson Fury beat the lies out of Deontay Wilder. Beat him down. Beat him down, man. I'm just excited, man. We got some big fights, and I'm looking forward to it, man. And shout out to the HCP, man. ACP, you know me. You feel me?
Yeah, H-Money down with HCP. And Maestro, give us, touch gloves. Give us your final thoughts. It is a 12th and final round. Tell everybody where to go right now.
Always a pleasure to be on with D-Style, host of the best conversation in boxing. I don't care what anybody says, and that's especially true if my man Joe Habib is here, which he usually is, and H-Money. And always a pleasure to have A-Rod on with us, too. We're going to be doing overtime. I'm going to be taking calls. Probably do it for about 30 minutes. If you want to jump in, I'm going to put the link in there, and I hope to see you there in a few minutes when we go live. Thank you, D.
That's right. Go ahead and put your link to the channel so everybody could go ahead and tune into that. Everyone go to that link, because that's where the party's going to go at now. Joe Habib, it is the 12th and final round. So touch gloves, and floor's yours.
Well, the week didn't start out the greatest. We had a little bit of a controversy at the beginning of the week, but hopefully we don't have any controversy at the end of the week because we got a great fight coming up over the weekend. I know everyone's talking about it on YouTube, but we have complained about not enough people outside of YouTube and outside of the hardcore boxing arena. People aren't talking about this fight, but hopefully both of these guys, and I don't even really mean hopefully, they will, in my opinion, put on such a great fight that this fight will be talked about after. So I think what happens in the ring is going to tell the biggest story, and it's going to attract more eyes to the sport because it's going to be on ESPN. Hopefully it's going to be everyone's going to tune in. The potential amount of people that could watch this fight because it's on ESPN is great. So like I said, this could be an invitation from both of these guys to, hey, let's come watch some real boxing. This is what real boxing is all about. Come back next time and watch us.
That's right. That's right. Well said. Well said. A-Rod, it is the 12th and final round. Touch gloves and give us your final thoughts, brother.
Well, thank you for having me on. Thank you, Maestro, H-Money, B, you, D-Style, for inviting me to talk some boxing. It's always fun. So, man, because whenever I'm in the chat, I keep on typing, and I want to jump on all the time. So this is cool to be on with you guys and chop it up. Anybody, if you guys want to subscribe to my channel, the links in the description, or in the chat. I'll appreciate it. Right now, I work for a meat company. I deliver for a meat company, so it's going to be tough for me to go live nowadays. But
I hear you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Well, it's always good, and to have you on here, I definitely appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Touch gloves. That's it. This is D-Style Boxing. Who's down with HCP? Everybody. I'm out of here. Peace.